Yo! How's everybody doing? Happy Friday to you. Hope you've all had a good week, stayed productive, inspired, all that good stuff. We've made it through another one. Yay. Tomba, right? Right? Visor, how you doing? All right, let's scroll back up to the top of this chat and see who's here. Visor, you were first today. Happy Friday. 80 Cop, welcome in. Happy Friday to you as well, my friend Tomba. You are back. Congratulations. Getting a mortgage and a pizza. Perhaps, I'm not sure which one is more important in the moment. Might be really hungry. Blazing Beats. How you doing, homie? You cooking up something good over there? Dub, you are here. You are here. Happy Friday, dude. Who else is here? American Josh, dude. How you doing, Josh? Congrats on unlocking comments on YouTube. Good times. Now you too can engage in 2.0 battles. Oh, who else is here? Let's see here. I don't know who else is here. But it's Friday. And Blazing Beat says, I have submitted something that might surprise you. Carolus, how you doing? Happy Friday. This is Feedback Friday. Yeah, dude, Tomba, you've had a huge week, man. Mortgage, pizza, brand new PC, which looks glorious, by the way. Thank you for sharing pictures. Plugins and some new ideas, all in that order. Crazy scenes, yeah. Yeah. Advisor's like, pizza is definitely the more important thing here. Oh, man. All right, updates. I think probably the biggest update to share with you guys is that we are just like so close to returning to normal screening schedule and productivity. And then shortly thereafter, there will be a few spots that are open back up for training sessions, mixing sessions, and whatnot too. But those are still all closed off for the time being. We'll get the kiddo back in school. School year starts next week. And then I need to get a couple of things wrapped up, and then we're back to normal streaming schedule. So probably not next week, because school doesn't begin till midweek. But the following week, I'm thinking we should be back to a few days a week of streaming and diving in and actually playing together again. Be so good. So that's the main update. The other is that if you haven't been here for a few weeks, or you just haven't checked the room, the subscriber rewards sound pack is available for download currently. It might be different than the last one that was in there for you, so check that before you leave today. So if you are currently subbed, get your free sounds. Tomba's like, oh, 100% pizza is before anything. Oh, Carolus is over there rendering stems. Happy Friday. That's a nice Friday feeling, right? Get through the end of a week, end of a project, finally bounce the stems, just in the nick of time. Yeah. I delivered a couple new products last night. So, for those who enjoy the Cinematic Essentials series over in Ghost Hack Land, I've just sent a couple more over. So, those will pop up soon. There's also a brand new Serum 2 pack over there. Good for techno, rave kind of stuff. What else is happening over there in that land? There's a new YouTube video up over there. It's just a general overview of the new features that should probably be fairly exciting to most. And then, in a few months, we'll probably have another one of those overviews, but it'll be like the trickier, kind of more tucked away features that we're most excited about. And then in between then, we'll be releasing just a ton of videos of like features and workflows. They'll be separate. So if you want to know specifically like how a feature is working, or how it's intended to work, or how you can use it in ways that it wasn't intended to be used, anyway, all of that stuff. We'll do that in feature videos, and then workflows will work towards specific ways of achieving specific types of outcomes together. So there'll just be a nice, really steady flow of videos coming your way, and I think that's it on the updates. I think that's it. We will probably see a couple of new OMLab packs too in the next couple of months. So get excited for that. Ooh, getting back to the chat here and getting caught up. 80 Cop says, my school has just ended and I'm starting a job in a few days. Wish me luck. All the luck to you, sir. Best of luck. That's awesome. Tumba says, I'm going to submit my latest version of Ride or Die when I get home. Few changes to make, especially in low hertz levels, and I want to mess around with some chord progressions too. Nice, nice. Oh, dude, Tomba. Yeah, man, you know what? Life happens. Continually, constantly, and completely unconsensually. You know what I'm saying? We're just cruising right along, think we're having a good time, and then bam! Life, you know? It's like, hey, don't get too comfy. This is life. Basically. Pretty sure. Pretty sure that's like the sense of humor it rolls with. That's what it feels like anyway. New downshifters and new creature sounds going to be released next in Ghost Act Land. Okay, let's click into public feedback and see who's dropped what this week. Am I the creature? I am the creatures. I am, I don't know, half the creatures in there. The other half are derived from other types of creatures, but they're definitely not what they ended up sounding like in the pack. If you guys want a little sneak preview, I can give you a little sneak preview. People do ask quite constantly for me to share more about what is actually happening in production land, especially over the summer when we've gone to just the feedback streams. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so what am I looking for here? I am looking for some ghost hack stuff. Creatures. Here's a little taste of what is inside of this pack here. You know what? I will actually... Yeah, I'll actually take this and just have it in its own little spot. There's a whole bunch of sounds. Of course, these packs are 100 sounds each. So there's a lot. And they sound kind of like this. It sounds like someone needs a Snickers. gosh, excuse me. Yeah, okay, so there's the creature sounds, and if you want a little sneak peek of the downshifters that are coming, I got kind of tired of your typical kind of downshifters that everyone's always selling, so uh, hopefully people end up liking these. They sound kind of like this. Oops, sorry about that. Let's start that again. And with something nice and gentle, huh? So anyway, there's new downshifters coming and there's new creature sounds coming. So kind of keep your eyes peeled for those in the next few days or whenever it happens. Yeah, right. So many DMV stabs, right? Okay, so Will is here. Everybody go love Zev Music. If you have not discovered Zev Music before, go find Zev and subscribe wherever you find him. And then enjoy. And then forever, that's like your thing that you can enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Where are we here? I'm going to scroll back up to this guy. And where is Will? Oh, there you are. How you been, Will? Things good? Oh, here, I'm going to hit pause on this background noise. We don't really need the added tension. We're listening to everybody's music today, and we're just like, man, it's all just so freaking tense, you know? All right, let's see what Will cooked up. This is The Magic Between. Let's listen. Solid outro, Sev. I enjoy it. Um, Dude, Will, the guitar sounds nice. I love all the guitar stuff. All the little plucks kind of dancing around using your full stereo spectrum. Love it. The shaker on the upbeat, I feel is a bit loud. It'd be cool to hear just that one shaker kind of singled out and sent through filter and volume modulation, long form, and just hear that change over time. um, some gentle feedback swells in the background, I think would be so cool. It would be this like kind of backdrop. You've got this kind of lower ambience that's kind of cooking back there, and you've got this nice little atmosphere that's cooking, and those swells could be something that sits kind of right in between those two, and some of them could be gritty and some of them could be whiny or waily, right? And some of them could be really, really gentle and filtered down and just really reverberated or whatever. But as long as you keep placement, right, and all of it kind of pulled way back, I think that feels so, so nice. It would just bring kind of, I think, this counterbalance to the ambience atmosphere side of things. 308, really love the subtle details that the little tape warp is bringing, and I really enjoy the small impact sounds of the guitar pick. Um, yeah, love all the small details. Absolutely. I want some filter play in a few spots, like 447, um, 502, kind of same kind of thing, like this. There's kind of this consistent experience for a bit, so if we can kind of shake that up and push against the expectations, really subtly, of course, minimally, I think that would feel really, really good. A couple of reversals, that type of thing. A couple of re-triggers, right? You're expecting that beat to keep going, and you just got like a bump, 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 bump. Yeah. Um, yeah, I want like just kind of subtle, nuance, kind of understated additions to this. I don't really hear anything out of whack or otherwise missing. This is really good though. I love the palette of sounds and just that everything is really focused on the guitar, honestly, in this thing. The beat doesn't necessarily drive any of it, really. I feel like it reinforces the arc that you're putting in front of us, if that makes sense. Which of course kind of club music on its head, right? Which is awesome. So I'm a big fan. I love this one. I love this one. And we should catch up soon because I miss you. When extra cosmic, yeah. Didn't add mistakes on the guitar. They kind of add to it. I agree. Yeah, totally hypnotic. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Dude, really good to hear you. Absolutely. I know you got a boogie, but fantastic track. I hope you finish this soon. Feel free to spam some links on the way out if you want. Help people find you. Only Goon. This one. Oh, this one was dropped early. Tomba dropped some stuff early too. You guys didn't want to miss your spot. You bet, Will. Take care, homie. We'll see you on the flip. Wow, we've got 30 new submissions already. Hey. All right, so Only Goon, I'm not sure. Gotta respect the gazelle. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. If you are just subbing for the first time and you don't know this yet, hit the subscriber rewards channel in the Discord and you'll grab yourself a free sound pack. Swap those out often for you. When I'm really on top of things, it's monthly. And if you time it right, that means you can get 2 sound packs sometimes within a single subscription cycle, which is cool. Thank you. Yeah, of course. All right, so Only Goon, I'm not sure how long these are. So if these are like over a couple of minutes or something like that, we're probably only going to do the one. If we have time later, we can scroll back up and do a second one. So I'll just click on this first one here. Probably like a minute. I think we can do both. I think that's okay.
Only me.
All right, Only Goon, I think it's a really nice chuckle tag that you've got in here. I feel like it fits the vibe so well. I bring the sub down a bit and the bass too. I feel like they're both just a little bit dominant here. The bell strike can come up. I'd add some more overdrive until you hear it ring, not a bunch of drive until it gets gritty. So if you start turning up the gain or the drive, whatever it's called on your favorite overdrive plugin, and make sure that you're targeting a high frequency. Target like between 7 and 12K. Make sure that you're targeting an upper region of the frequency range so it's generating harmonics all the way up the scale. If you feel like it's starting to break apart or distort in any way, stop what you're doing, back off a little bit, add a second plugin, same kind, right? And reinforce your work and kind of gently get it to the point where you're getting some more ring out of that thing. And then adjust volume to taste. You'll probably need to bring it down just a little bit. 121, the keys towards the end, saturate until a greater ring is heard there as well, I think. Okay, let's listen to Chills. Okay. Okay. So here's what I got for you on this one. Sub down a good 6 to 10 dB. Bass down a good 8 to 10 dB. dB. Keys want some saturation and some variety. It needs a little variation. I think the looping gets a little stale after a bit, so work on simple retriggering, reversals, resequencing, etc. Similar to what I was saying to Zev a few minutes back. Same with the pluck, actually. Low end cutoff up to 40 hertz, 6 dB per octave curve. You'll keep the rumble. Just back off the amount of frequency presence down there. Sawtooth synth wants a little saturation as well, perhaps a little more reverb presence toward the end of the track, so it starts to fill up a little bit more of the space. I think would feel nice. Let's see what I am getting in the chat right now. Reaching, welcome in. Happy Friday. Corolla saying, I've heard this somewhere before with splinter cell effect, night vision. Yeah, it's funny when you hear the loops that have come from the same place, right? Bass sounds kind of untuned, like it's the wrong tone, says Ad Rocky. I don't know. There was definitely like a tension here, but I feel without the tuning the way that it is, a lot of the tension goes away, and then it starts to feel really simple. And I don't know that it's very satisfying at that point. I think it would feel really generic at that point, right? So I think the detune is okay. I think it's okay. Well, to me anyway. Ad Rocky says, it sounds like very early fruity loops, but I dig the vibe. Mix is just kind of off a bit. 80 Cup says, why am I scared to make graphics and music that's too normal? And when it's too normal, I add something strange. 80 Cup, I think it's because you probably look at normal and you think to yourself, I can do better. So then when you're in the process of making something, you're like, well, if this seems normal to me right now, then I must need to do something else to make it better. You might want to put it in front of other people, honestly, and see how far from normal they think it is and help you with your perspective in the matter. Yeah. Also, the reference material uh, thing, just putting something in front of yourself that is from a source that you really respect, to kind of put you in that same kind of perspective or help you get there anyway. Visor says, I like this one. Ed Rocky says, these strings are fire. I actually love how weird and janky they are. The bass don't fit super well, though. Something more akin to E-type bass on that would be great. More complicated 4-bar loop and an evolving bass line. Yeah, and I agree with you. I think it would evolve kind of heavy too. Yeah, there is an amount of organicness, like this linear growth from point A to point Z. And a lot of this can be processing, like how you're actually affecting your sound once you have it in the arrangement window. You're always going to get to point Z. You've already put that into your composition, but what it sounds like when you get to point Z is oftentimes just as important as what happens in between. And I think that when you're dealing with something that starts to get a bit loopy, right, it starts to sound samey, right? If we're evolving the sound at the very least, if there is no change to the way it is being assembled in the arrangement, but there is evolution of sound over time, like that's equally as important to so many different listeners and situations that like it's super relevant and very valid. So work on both. Work on both. I'm sure you'll find a really good middle ground there. I'm going to put this into a thread here. because I don't think you're in here in the moment. All right, Tomba. Tomba's got a little something here. A bit of messing around with some serum. What a great plugin. Okay. So this just says new rig, new plugs. It's 44 seconds. It's from Tomba. Yo, this is great. I feel like you are like this is full on exploration. I love this. This is and it's so ripe for like further exploration. Like get a modulator on the wavetable of one of those oscillators, get a modulator on one of the warp functions on one of those oscillators, slowly move it over time. Don't do anything too wild at first. So that ARP is still the main focus, but then over time you start to get this kind of change over time. It doesn't have to be a great difference, right? The depth or the level at which you are modulating a parameter doesn't have to be super great, right? In fact, the more minute a lot of these changes are, the better, because it really forces us to kind of focus our attention on something in the mix. And each time we do that to a different element in the mix, we start to notice different things about the music that we're listening to. So it benefits you as a producer and sound designer, like trying to bring more life and movement and change over time to your sounds, but it also really benefits the listener because it helps them like constantly discover each time they listen, which helps kind of validate them putting it in front of themselves again, right? And hitting play again. That makes sense. But I really dig what you're doing here. I do. Ad Rocky says Final Fantasy. Yeah, right? Right? Ah, it's just massively tuned. Spent a lot of time fiddling. Okay, okay, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And Control 4 Official makes a really good point. You know, if you put too much sounds into a mix, it will confuse the brain because there is this uh, um, this processing load that's happening inside of our brain, right? And we've got a ton of RAM. We've got a ton of like we have a really special kind of like quantum supercomputer up here. It really is something spectacular. But um, there is this kind of fever pitch kind of tipping point, right? This hysteresis that we reach, even though we've got a multitude of RAM. It's just we need to be able to focus, right? Like for the longest time, we were able to focus on one specific bird call amongst many, right? So we could track something, so we could catch that easier prey and survive, right? Stuff like that. Like we do have the ability to really tune in and focus, right? And that's really what we crave. So when we're putting a whole big kind of multi-track thing together, it really is about like how can we create separation between the elements that we've installed here, and then how can we affect them over time to bring attention to them at different points in time and allow, therefore, there to be some sort of greater arc or storyline or something occurring. Um, so, yeah, especially when you've got a couple really busy things that are layered, it becomes even more important, right? Like how you're affecting each one of those layers over time. Absolutely. Hey, STP1. If it fails, if all else fails, granulate. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and that reminds me, we'll be doing a bunch of Serum 2 uh, videos on each one of the features, and we're going to spend a fair bit of time on granular stuff when it comes to the workflow, features. So if there are specific types of sounds or ideas that you'd love to see explored in some of those, let me know because we'll go through a bunch of it in live streams as well. Says it, Derek. Oh yeah, Corollas says, yeah, a few days ago I woke up at like 4 a.m. and was listening to nature for like an hour. And there's so many different things going on outside, so many animals screaming all over the place, even in the big city. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I feel like I I do kind of wonder if any of that has been kind of affected by humans over time. You know what I mean? Because like a lot of that cacophony might be happening in the hours where they don't have to compete with us quite as much. Because man, it's got to be hard to fight over traffic and be heard as a wild creature in a city, right? Man. All right, let's get back to these sounds, huh? Oh, it is refreshing just to sit there. Yeah, everyone should unplug and just sit in nature for like an hour at least every day, a couple hours if you can. It's a great way to feel so much more grounded and centered and plugged in and uh, I guess kind of confident in oneself. Self is important. Tomba says my ADHD brain could never just listen to one sound. Control 4 official says, wake up in a forest and listening to the birds do call and response things. It was the most beautiful thing ever. Yeah, absolutely. And trees act like a natural acoustic diffuser. Yeah, yeah. In fact, when I don't want to get too off on a tangent here, but this is one of my favorite things in like those first days, like in the classroom of teaching people about sound design and music and stuff and like the concept of what is an oscillator and this old school vision of like like a record player or some kind of like rotor in an engine making little circles just again and again and again is just so unpleasant and not at all the right kind of thing to think about to me. So I oftentimes say like leaves on a branch, those are all oscillators. So a single branch on a leaf has this kind of multi-voice, kind of multi-timbral thing going. And then when you stack a whole bunch of them together, like each tree is kind of like its own supersaw in a way, right? But each thing in the space is kind of staying in its own lane, right? Because there's such a low velocity involved in so many of these things. And it really does add up like an orchestra. It really does. But anyway, I digress. Yeah. The animals living like meth heads. just just the constant. Yeah, exactly. Clap in a forest and listen to how it disperses, and then move 2 feet to the left and clap again and listen again, right? And just kind of identify the differences. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, this one is "Give Me Your Attention," and it is a post from Tomba saying tonight's antic. Okay, Toba, I really like where you're going on this one. There's this roaming pad kind of element. It feels like it's almost like a lead, but I think it's really a pad. I think it should come way down in the mix personally. I'd also kind of cream it out a bit further with the reverb to take away some of the edge and leave a little bit more kind of ambiguous kind of ambience seeping out of it. Maybe let it peek out here and there for effect. Most of everything else that I'm hearing in the sketch is pretty good. I was keeping up with chat a little bit on this, but I also would have typed low end management on this. I feel like there's kind of an unnecessary heft to this. We could shave off a little bit more of those lowest frequencies. I'm not sure we need quite as much rumble in there. And then maybe just using a shelf down there so you're not pushing frequencies around or chopping off too much, right? It's more just a balance and presence thing, I think, more than anything else. Um, yeah, yeah, those are the big ones for me on this one. 80 Cop says maybe change vocal. Hmm. Hey, level up. I can put your stuff into a thread, and the VODs, the archives of the stream are free to watch too, so you can tune in and see what was said in real time as well, postmortem, as they say, asynchronously. Good to have you here. We'll see you on the flip. Thank you so much for the sub too. Good to have you in the mix. Control 4 official says I do hear some dissonance. It's not critical. Carol says I'm not really sure what's with the pad. 80 Cop says, yeah, interesting melodies. I would make it differently. And that's kind of nice because that means it's pushing against the expectations of someone that's making, similar type stuff. I find that to be good, actually, because we're not all going to be making the same stuff. Now it's a matter of like making it all sound, as close as it's supposed to sound, like as you hear it in your head, right? Yeah. STP says he did mention that it's a mud pie, a sample. I assumed to chop it up. Yeah. 80 Cop. It is you. This one is Source of Light, featuring Callus.
Look in my eyes, it's fire burning in them. You feel this heat coming from light. Fall in my arms so that we are the same. You see my heart that shines so bright. When you're still awake in the middle of the night, try to find every ray of hidden flame. When you hope to get to the nearest source of light, do not hide, there's nobody else to blame. Find the source of light. Don't go away, you can still watch sunrise with me. Don't waste your time on seeking dark. There is no word that can describe what I feel. Is there something else that we can try? When you're still awake in the middle of the
All right, 80 cop. I love this. I love this. I love the surface texture on this main synth that's kind of leading the charge throughout. I want a bit of a brightness lift on the vocal, some greater separation from the low mids in the mix to help it sit atop the mix a little bit better, and probably just a little bit of saturation is going to be involved in that. Um, and that'll help, right, to generate a little bit more harmonics in there. Give it a little bit more of a buffer from the rest of the mix and define it a little bit better around the edges. I'd remove some lows from the vocal reverb channel as well. It feels a bit weighted, a bit heavy. I always put an EQ on every reverb channel and restrict whatever frequencies are not necessary, because otherwise you're just allowing a carbon copy of the original signal to just kind of hang out in the same space that same signal is trying to occupy again in most situations. So whatever you can do to reduce that conflict there is going to be beneficial for everyone involved. I think this ARP is super, super dope. I want some more simple modulation affecting both perhaps the filter position and the wavetable position in tandem, something to change the voice and then the disclosure of the full range of frequencies of that voice over time. So this is a dual modulation thing. I think it sounds super awesome with the kind of constant roaming that's happening with the ARP. And I think that if you time those modulation changes well, it's going to accent a lot of the kind of vocal elements of this synth. It's quite talkative. It's quite talkative. If you finish it off with a little dose of overdrive, it'll kind of define a lot of those changes, those kind of gray areas between 1 and 2 as you're modulating between something. 205, just a general chance to point out, just in general, I want more volume changes throughout this thing, more bold decision making. This thing is super awesome. It feels so good and it sounds so good. And I think the only thing that's really missing between where it is now and giving everyone goosebumps every time are more dynamic changes. Like at the point of transitions, to be sure, right, to have a more surging, accented, convex curve, like right at the last second, this thing goes rushing up and makes this big change, right? And that change, instead of like 3 dB where it is now, maybe instead of 3 dB, it's like 9 dB or something like that. So 3 times the distance that it's traveling right now. And you make 5, 6, 12 changes like that throughout your mix, and those moments stand out from the rest as like, whoa, something happened in that one moment. And when someone looks back on a track like that, they're like, I'm pretty sure that moment happened like a dozen different times. Like this thing was absolutely epic. It's the change, it's the juxtaposition, it's the contrast between how much of a leap it was between these two moments in time. And the closer those two moments in time are together, especially, right, it really just kind of stands out to us as like, whoa, what just happened? So step out and be more bold and more dynamic and make more surging changes. And I think this thing is a chart topper. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, Corollas. Just reading your comment about depending upon what everybody loves. You love making creative stuff, uh, but like keeping it simple. Yeah, absolutely. Visor. Visor saying source of light. When my track I submitted today is pretty much a source of darkness. This track we just listened to is called Source of Light. That's awesome. Tumba says, are the vocals a bit flat in parts? Perhaps. Perhaps. Control 4 is saying, it's always a good idea to put an EQ after your reverb to cut the lows. Yeah. Ed Rocky says, this is amazing, bro. Dub saying, it's got such a unique vibe to it. It's yearning for evolution to fully harness the full potential of energy. Tumba says, I like this, bright with a great spine behind it, full of color. Girl is saying, man, this is a banger. 80 Cop throwing up hearts. Everybody loves this. Control 4 official says, you use Reaper's stock EQ? Now that's bold. I mean, when you're doing it right. Oh, nice. Nice. STP saying Mr. Bill just dropped a pod of the creator with the creator of Reaper. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, I think it's safe to say people are loving this one. Absolutely. Tomba, what are these? What are these? Hold on a second. These are always tricky. 826. Is there another one of these, Tomba? I'm just checking because I am unsure if this is the one you were speaking of or not. Okay. So this one's called Ride or Die. Tomba's saying, my mission is continuous improvement. I think I've come up with a name for this one. It's called Ride or Die. Just rendering a preview now. I feel like my workflow has changed a lot since having a break, maybe for the good or worse. But I managed to make a give me your attention to this with a few adjustments to key. I love the noticeable key change just before the drop. I have a few ideas for middle focus element to ride along the arcs. Chord progression is always tricky. All right, cool. Oh, okay. Here we go.
If you need me, I'll be your ride or die. If you need me, I'll be your ride or die. If you need me, I'll be your ride or die. If you need me, I'll be your ride or die.
Like, this is the definition of Stankface and D&B right here. It's this, oh, we're going there like this, and this is how we're doing it right now. This tuning of this whole thing is so great. It's so awesome. Chumba says, I am pretty damn weird. And we love you for it. You wouldn't fit in here if you were not weird, right? Everyone who feels like they're weird, put your hands up in the air. Yeah, I'm definitely weird. Corolla says, we noticed. Hey, Wolfie's here. Wolf Asylum says, likewise. Nice work. Control 4 official says, not as weird as seeing an athlete forgetting his own name. Place me says, I got an emote for that. Okay, can I just say that this is like, this is kind of, in a way, it's kind of like what we should all really aim for. Not in all of our stuff, but in so much of our stuff, like putting together something that is unexpected enough to get a response from a good chunk of people when they listen to it. You know what I'm saying? When you get a whole bunch of people going, oh, I feel like you're hitting a mark, you know? Control 4 officials saying, I watched men's free diving the other night, and those guys keep air for like 4 minutes, and when they come up, they pass out. Such a crazy sport. Yeah, it is. But also, some dude dove for over 29 minutes without coming up for breath the other day. Free diver. I can't remember exactly where he was when he did this. But it was just like, I think like within the last week or something like that. Over 29 minutes, just absolutely crushed, annihilated the old world record, which was human. This is so not human. How does somebody do this? He didn't just come up floating. Like he just... Oh my goodness. Oh man. Insane cardiovascular control, I think is one way to put it. Yeah. Yeah. I think dude actually just like teleports to another dimension for like 29 minutes of that. Humans are the aliens. Yeah. 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 Whew. Yeah. They prepare with pure oxygen. Yeah, it's just nuts. It's just, I mean, I don't know how any of it's even possible. I don't understand. I just don't understand. It's beyond me. It's just, yeah, it's very impressive, but also like, man, you got to dedicate your entire life to being able to hold your breath well. Like that's your thing. I don't know. All right, this one's Ad Rocky. What up, AD? Past tense. Oh wait, we got video, so I'm gonna move my notepad over to the other screen, and I'll see you guys on the flip.
But I couldn't flinch now. Used to beg for love, now I base the shit down. I was never raised, always had to be real brave. In order to learn, getting happiness now. Never had trust, circle was a bad one. Safety net, there's the traps when you crash, son. I was malnourished, so I bloomed real late. So people talking shit about the looks I had, son. Was living with adults who was stealing, get the shit that was given as a gift. Selling all the shit to get, and sells a new refill of meth. Fucking idiots, said you'll understand, kid. I was living in the shit. They call it trauma, but I call it Tuesday. My teachers never had a soul, it wasn't doomsday. When staying loud as fucking causing hell for you fakes. Cause the only way you hears me when I force you to say past tense. My past tense. My past tense. No, it's past tense. Past tense. And now we past tense. Past tense. Past tense. My priest said God ain't made mistakes, but I know some people who dispute that phrase, cause they are fucking waste. My foster parents wanna say that they saved the day, but ain't try to understand me. Made me way ashamed, cause I was feeling pain. Reactionary pain, because I was scared of me. Action full of hate. I felt so alone, ain't relate, so went away to what I thought I deserved, back to where they went and raised. Me where a smile can't visit, where the love was a front, but the drugs was explicit, where the hugs didn't come with an ounce of intention. So I cut every bond just to calm my suspension. Yeah, I flinch less now, but I scream in my sleep. See shit at 13 that I wish I ain't see. Her whispers through the door, saw the devil in jeans. Making friends with my pain, let it write the script for me. I burned the script, that shit handed in. If it would vanish like my daddy did. I trade everything for mental health. The system failed at every turn, dictated my shitty past, and then killed a couple friends, so Austin had to quit. Now the Reaper steady trailing every breath I spit. My whole fucking life was ruined by some dudes walking by, not asking shit, seeing bruises on me and the shit ain't past tense. In my past tense. In my past tense. No, it's past tense. Past tense. And now we past tense. Past tense. Past tense. Past tense.
Yo, okay, I want to get back to my screen here. Ed Rocky, this is great. I like this video. I actually like that. Tomba's saying you should include that in a line in your song. I actually like that. I bet you could work that in. Good lyrics, by the way. Straight out of foster care into nothing. Yeah, I think this video is awesome. I love the simplicity of it, and I love just the vibe, man. It's all coming together so well. I think more backing vocal presence, and then specifically using volume automation to adjust the volume and get like extra, like maybe a difference of like 5-6 dB between some words and then their accented syllables while they're backing you, right? So maybe it's just half a word, or maybe it's just the word said, or whatever. It's oftentimes just like single syllables when we're doing this, but accenting those. I feel like we're in that kind of finer details, let's finish this thing in a really awesome way kind of spot right now. I love the whole vibe. I love what you're doing with the mix. I do think that a little more presence on the side, with the backing vocals, especially in the chorus. And then, like I said, accenting through volume automation changes. I think that's where we're going from this point. Kind of use your position right now, your the volume level of your backing vocal right now, use that as your baseline, and then add accents from there just through volume automation, and see how that feels to you. It's going to change the feeling of the groove in these points. It's going to really add a whole lot of like kind of lockstep appeal to this thing. Should be really nice. I like that, Ed Rocky. I like that. Like, you want to judge, then you can pay for my haircut. Oh, man. Tumba says, yeah, honestly, really, you are so very much attuned to Mac Miller. I love your style, man. Keep at it. Control 4 official says, I think it's a borderline. Tumba says, even some retro rap samples can really add to a track like this. You know what? Actually, saying that, I would say I would roll your own. You should roll your own on all of this. And a lot of that stuff can just be done with a little bit of noise and EQ. So I actually really like that idea. Injecting a little bit of kind of the live sample drop-in appeal to this thing. Maybe it only happens in a couple of spots, but you've got this kind of noisy, kind of, a lot of the low end's been kind of filtered out. Like it sounds like it's coming through a tape deck or something like that, right? Kind of old school. I feel that. And I think you can do that easily with the the vocal captures that you've got already. Yeah, just roll your own on this. I think that would be awesome. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Some Jay-Z type samples. Yeah, absolutely. Control 4 official says, I think intent makes music sound good when everything sounds intentional, or or the illusion thereof, right? You could have something that's fairly abstract or even random in the way that it all kind of comes together, right? But showing that you could wrangle this in at any point, that you do have control of the situation in some way, is like such a masterful move, right? Like sucking everything down into silence and getting like really something super tight for a moment. Something like that just flips a person's impression entirely of something. Yeah. Yeah. Ed Rocky says, I bit crushed the drums for the VHS 5. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Absolutely. Tomba saying, yeah, familiarity can make a new scene blend into what you already know. Tomba says, McDonald's, for example, in any country still sells burgers no matter where you go. Even on an album, you can use the same sample in multiple different tracks as sort of an Easter egg. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's something about sample culture that doesn't just appreciate it, it demands it, right? Because there is no sample culture without this kind of continuation, right? Like this is tradition, basically, at this point. It's part of the soul, right? The pulse. Oh yeah, and ghost notes, true. Also a very good point. Control 4 official saying, deleting a clap where it should be, not being there anymore, resets the brain in a good way. Yeah, yeah. And butter notes, as Herbie would say. Sometimes it's so much more important what you choose not to do when you could otherwise. What is being withheld? It's important. All right, Visor's here. A little Visor moment. Trademark. I don't believe I've shared many dark horror tracks, says Visor, even though that's my main style, hard house. So here's a track I'm working on for an upcoming EP, with the theme being horror, creepy kids singing. So here's one of the tracks that'll be on that EP. I also screen recorded my process of making this track, which is now available on YouTube. Hey, that's awesome. That's fun. That's great. If you want to put the link in the chat for people to check it out, you are more than welcome to do that. Heavy. Velvet Goat Cheese says, "This is very cool. My tinnitus even synced up with it." Yeah, going out with a bang. Tomba. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, so getting back up to the top here. Luff's down a bit. I think it's just pushing the Luffs a bit too much. I think you can still reach the next zip code if you bring it down a few. I love the vocal sample being used in the lead. I do think, though, there needs to be more separation between the vocal synth and the main vocal in general. Moving the vocal synth to one side will probably help. And bring it down a bit when the main vocal is actually popping in the mix. Hide and Shriek, by the way, is just so good. So good. It's going to be well timed with Halloween coming up. The Squelchy synth at 145, I think, can come way down, like 12 dB down or so, and then have it be used as this kind of tension element, rising and falling in presence. I do think that it's one of the culprits of the loudness kind of stacking that's happening here. There's a few spots where we've got a multitude of elements. They're all kind of fighting for that same exact position when they're all being limited to this extent. So reducing some of that limiting and reclaiming some of that distance and space between each one of the elements is going to help. Just a bit more on the volume mix too, I think can help, because having a difference of, say, 3 dB between these two elements just isn't enough when you have everything limited. So maybe that thing that was 3 dB now needs to be more like 8 dB or something like that. So you're just going to increase that dynamic relationship across the board if you really feel like you do need to compress so much at the end. And whoa, at 4:15 this moment, nice change up. It's cool. It's very wild, serious festival, like mayhem vibe. I feel like Mosh Pit is just really churning at this point. And just in general, just the constant impact of this kick that you've dialed in for this track has so much impact. Yeah, so much impact. Ad Rocky saying this breakdown is fire. Yeah. Blazing Beat says, heck, it turned off most of my tinnitus. That's amazing. Your ears are just like, we'll need to reset. Oh, that's amazing. Visor, thank you. Another Visor moment. Blazin'. This one's called Touch Blunted.
Lately, we've been getting closer, baby. Love it when you look to me. I love it when you're touching me. Love it when you look to me. I love it when you're touching me. Love it when you look to me. I love it when you're touching me. Love it when you look to me. I love it when you look to me. I love it when you're touching me. Love it when you look to me. I love it when you're touching me. Love it when you look to me. I love it when you're touching me. Love it when you look to me. Touching me, ooh, ooh.
Yo, if I could spell right, you would have had a nice little, nice beat there. All right, low end down a bit. Low end cutoff up to 40 hertz. You can keep the big rumble with the 6 dB per octave curve, but I definitely roll it up to 40 hertz or so. Bring the sub channel itself down a good 6 dB, and I bring the bass down 8 to 12 dB, maybe 8 at its loudest, 12 when other things are really trying to pop off. I love the little pulse synth at 41 seconds. It's buried under the bass. It can be moved a little further away from center and be brought up a little bit. 107, I love the new lead. This is another one that the bass could be down for. Very cool vibe. 144, change up the delivery here a bit so there's a noticeable difference this time around. Love the vibe of this track. I love it. Got to finish this one. Absolutely. Tomba, right? My typing skills are so bad. Oh man. Far Horizon says this is great, Blazing Beats. Also, some balance, and you're good. Also sent in my remix of this tune. Excellent. Josh, it is you. Let's listen. Got Emerson South. This one's funky.
Why'd I say I'd man the grill?
After
Don't man things.
Michael Cesare.
Just find the knot that make.
There we go. There we go.
Sitting next to what I want, but I can't move. Sun is coming from all around, but I can't groove. I get up out of my seat, but I know she'd take it. Please someone lay a claim to my heart before she takes it and adds to the collection that I know she has. Holding tightly when head of the man's. Whereas I'm not trying to be another man on the phone. I'm just trying to get her alone. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. Girl, it's just you and me. It would be ecstasy, yeah. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do. All the things you can do to me. Cause you dance so funky, yeah, yeah. Now it's the second verse, and my craving's getting worse. Cause I still don't know her name. Say what? Her body's on fire, my temper's getting higher. Cause her moves are anything but tame. I said, oh no, she turned it around, good God. She dropped it to the ground, I said, oh no, she turned it around, good God, baby girl. Drop it to the ground, I said, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. Girl, just you and me, it would be ecstasy, yeah. All the things you can do to me, cause you dance so funky, yeah, yeah. Trumpet. Next to what I want, but I can't move. Sun is coming from all around, but I can't groove. I get up out of my seat, but I know she'd take it. Please someone lay claim to my heart before she takes it and adds to collection that I know she has. Holding tightly when head on the man's. Whereas I'm not trying to be another man on the phone. I'm just trying to get her alone. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. Girl, just you and me. It would be ecstasy, yeah. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do. All the things you can do to me. Cause you dance so funky, yeah, yeah.
Tumba says it's a little bit flat in the old mouth horn there. Dude, the mouth trombone? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The comment section has been turned on Josh's YouTube feed. So if you have strong thoughts either way about this track, he does request that you go there onto YouTube and leave some comments there. Because YouTube does love hate. It's true. It kind of excels in it. Sort of. Anyone. Tumba says, it's a hard instrument to master, so I forgive on this occasion. The mouth trombone. I mean, the slide on that mouth trombone. I would ask other people, what are your mouth trombone skills like? Thomas says, it made me smile. Corolla says, I left you this basic comment. Oh, man. Josh says, this is what I was going for. Super goofy. A good kind of goofy. Tumba says, honestly, I think that song is what goes on in my Labrador's head like 24/7, even when he bonks off to immovable objects. Oh, man, that's actually so true. That feels like that's got like a ring of truth to it, doesn't it? Okay, so a little saturation accenting the vocal performance on this one, get it to sit atop the mix a bit more, and then I think that that mouth horn solo can really shine. Iron Imp! Iron Imp! How you doing, Omi? Oh, it's been a minute. Iron Imp saying, hey, Omlab and Omis, I won't submit it twice, but I dropped my first track. Oh, wait, I dropped my first tracker track in your Post Your Links channel because I've been kicking out new material. Ooh, well, we will check that out. Your first tracker track, huh? Okay. Far Horizon says, so this one has that golden retriever energy then? I think it's the mouth horn. I can actually like picture these dogs in a park, like super happy, like bopping to this song, slobber going off their mouth. Okay. Arterial. It's a cool word. Use it for a name in a new track. Yeah, man, go for it. It is a cool name. It is a cool word. Iron Imp. You didn't even know I was streaming. I got to hit that notification thing. All right, Corollas. It is you. This one's called Tension. All right. Corollas, this is what I've got for you. I love the bass that you've got wiggling around here with the long attack on it. I want to hear you playing with the dimensionality of it a bit, detuning, mid-sight EQing, delay and reverb play, different things that can affect our perception of its location, its proximity, the size of the space that it's in, and the relationship to the size of the space that it's in. Playing with reflections, I think it'd be really, really neat. 116, nice ARP. I think I'd move it more to one side. Currently, it's competing for attention with the bass in its current spot. Needs a little volume adjustment down too, probably. 134, love the fluttery, buttery nature of the detuning in general in this moment. It's super vibey. 202, I'd get a different track entirely cooking for that little drop octave vocal sample that you shift down to for a moment. I'd bring it up in volume presence and make it more prominent, and I'd also mess with it. Like it might echo a few times, and each one of those echoes has a completely different saturation profile on it, right? Maybe one of them is super like crunchy and distorted, and one of them is bit crushed, and one of them is really fuzzy or something like that, right? As it like kind of decays over time. Some kind of like really stand out, playful difference would probably be felt by most people here. Honestly, good track. I like this. It's got a nice rhythm. It's got a good palette. I think this is just like last 2% finishing touches here. It's all about kind of isolating, bringing a little bit more separation. Perhaps just a touch more kind of character and texture with your processing, and that will help with that separation of elements, I think. Tumba saying, yes, who is this man? Teach me. Control 4 official says, previous track has replayability factor of 11 out of 10. That's the one from Josh there. Ooh, yeah. Iron Imp saying, I like the filtering on the bass. It's a good amount of fuzz versus restraint, push and pull. I agree. This is something that Corollas is going for here. Control 4 official says this track exhibits stereo behavior that cannot be physically demonstrated on these laptop speakers. Oh, man. Ooh, yeah. Iron Imp saying, in my mind's eye, I can see the bass just starting to clip that transfer function. Yeah, it is nice. It's like that tipping point, that little tilt in there. Yeah. Thomas says, this is screaming. I'm just drunk on pizza, to be fair, at this point. Far Horizon says this bass could come down a little with some creative processing, wetness to give it a little more dimension, reverb, delay, or do a split right-left channel that's wet and then send a dry signal to keep it somewhat grounded. Yeah, so Far Horizon saying kind of similar thing. Be fun to hear you play with the dimensionality of this. Control 4 official says, let me put it this way. If shouting was a merit for a track, this would be the equivalent of a soccer goal. Corolla says, I have so many automations on the basses and leads. Yeah, I could put more on for sure. Oh. Iron Imp says, it is uncommon to do, but I really like using mid-side EQ in an audio feedback path. This thing's feedback more and more towards the sides, with just a tiny little nudge. Yeah, absolutely. Kroll's saying, thank you for the feedback. You are welcome. I hope it vibes with you. Helps you make it even better. Thomas saying, I really did like this track. Oh, excellent. Excellent. Very cool. Corolla says, yeah, I will definitely take this advice for sure. Going to upload next time with some changes. Iron Imp saying, yeah, this is solid. Excellent. Josh, take care, homie. Have a good weekend over there. See you on the flip. I am partial to a bit of drum and bass myself, Tomba. Dub! It is you. Shall we?
Disco will never be gone. It will live in our minds and in our hearts.
Let's drop this shit.
Real disco is so much better. All of that stuff. Disco is too great. It's too fun for it to just disappear. Right?
Are you sleeping, you fat fuck? Come on!
Okay, Dub, this is fantastic. I honestly think this is probably some of the best work that you've brought in to date. It feels a little cottony in the bass here at 47 seconds. You can hear it carried throughout. It's sitting between 250 and 350, and you need to just carve out a little chunk, attenuate a little chunk there. It'll take away the kind of cottony boxiness and leave you with that kind of squariness that you're seeking. The limiting is bringing elements too close to the ear holes, and there's too many of them in too close proximity to one another for this to actually work out well. So we need to be able to discern the distance and proximity of these elements a little bit better. So do two things: back off the limiting just a bit because it doesn't actually need to be at the level that it is, and then the other is increase the distance between each of those individual sounds. You heard me give very similar feedback just a couple of tracks ago. It absolutely applies to this one as well. If you're going to compress something this much, just make sure that there's a greater distance between the sounds before you start doing that. That'll help you maintain some of that relative positioning, right? prioritization of sounds, if you will. Because if you don't do that, then everything kind of comes up to this kind of zero sum. It doesn't hit right? We don't get the goosebumps and the shivers when we should, because there wasn't enough of a contrast between a couple of elements. And then once you hit that sweet spot, boom, everything becomes feeling like incredibly cinematic and open and deep and wide and all of that good stuff. The disco is 2 dialogue thread. I'd bring that whole sample up and make it so much more prominent. I'm not even sure, 10, 12 dB maybe, like a pretty significant leap. And then I think also on the next sample that comes up right after that, it has a much greater presence, but I think it too can sit up on the top. So ultimately, I think this one really comes down to EQ at this point, making sure that you can better isolate your elements through accenting and attenuation before you get into your compression. Greater volume difference between each one of these elements. If it is a role player or a support element, bring it down even more before you start compressing and limiting. Outro samples up a bit more full. I feel like the low end was maybe cut off just a little bit too much on the outro samples. All in all, I think this one is a serious gem. And like I said, it's probably the best thing that you've brought to date. So please do finish it and try to find as much dynamic range as you can possibly get in there. Like imagine us clawing up 12 dB, right? Or 15 dB to get to the peak of something, right? And just how great it's going to feel when we get there. Or dropping from one of these epic heights all the way down a good like 25 dB down to this vast open expanse that we're now going to dwell in for a bit, right? Not quite silence, but we're getting closer. Far Horizon saying, making that oscillator art and eating it. Okay, I'm just going to read a couple of these things from the chat here. Control 4 official saying, it's not uncommon to experiment with drinking water out of a drag racing tire. Iron Imp saying, solid squelching. Far Horizon saying, this is so damn good. Also really clean. That is poetic, right, Tomba? A drag racing tire. Corolla saying, damn, I don't care at this point, to be honest. This slaps big time. And Tomba saying, fucking hell, this is itching my brain. Man, right in the middle. Defo get tippy-tappy there. Man. Yeah, people are really digging this one. Hey, Evans the Bard is here. How you doing, brother? How you feeling? Yeah, there are always so many cool submissions to the stream, right? Fridays are fun. Fridays are fun. Oh, man. All right, I'm moving on from the chat. Getting back to listening. All right, we already listened to this one from Zev. So Samsung is here. Everybody put on your dancing boots. Samsung Orange Ringtone has stepped into the chat. This one's called Downtown Funk 2. Good luck out there, you guys. This one's over 2 minutes.
Wait a minute. Fill my cup, put some nigga in it. Take a sip, sign the check. Julio, get the scratch. Right to Harlem, Hollywood, Jackson, Mississippi. If we show up, we gon' show out. Smoother than a fresh drop. I'm too hot.
Oh yeah.
Call the police and the fireman. I'm too hot. Make a dragon wanna retire, man. I'm too hot. Say my name, you know
set you hallelujah. Ooh, girl, set you hallelujah. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Saturday night and we in the spot. Don't believe me, just watch. Come on. Don't believe me, just watch. 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 Hey, 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 oh! Before we leave, let me tell y'all a little something. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. I said uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Come on, dance, jump on it. If you sexed and flown it. If you freak and own it. Don't brag about it, come show me. Come on, dance, jump on it. If you sexed and flown it. If you freak and own it. Don't brag about it, come show me. Come on, dance, jump on it. If you sexed and flown it. If you freak and own it. Don't brag about it, come show me. Come on, dance, jump on it. If you sexed and flown it. If you freak and own it. Don't brag about it, come show me. Come on.
Oh, man. Okay. So, Samsung. Yeah, it was very, very different, right? Yeah, this was good. Keys down a bit when the vocals are soloing. 45 seconds in, vocals up atop a bit more. There's a bit of a buildup around 200 hertz in the bass. You want to attenuate there. You can also use a shelf down low to skinny it up a bit in general, just a tad hefty. So maybe around like 70 hertz or so, you put a little shelf on, a little gentle curve, and bring it down like maybe 5 dB or something down there. 132, it might be kind of cool to play with some delay echoes here on that vocal performance. Let him start grooving with himself in a delayed kind of call and response moment or something. Is something I was feeling. Yeah, this was interesting. Corolla says, I am going to make some feed for the animal I am. Are you going to feed yourself? Hey, Samsung, there he is. How you doing, homie? Happy Friday to you. This is Dancy. Iron Imp says, I've been playing this super messed up indie RPG from one guy in Finland. Did all the art. Oh yeah, I saw this. I saw your post about this. Did all the art, writing, music code, etc. And it's beautiful because it could only come from one mind. Any committee or teammates would say, that's just too much. Yeah, totally. Samsung says, I will take your feedback to heart and will mix better. Isn't it amazing, Iron Imp, what individuals are doing these days? It's just absolutely incredible to me. All right, last chance, post your stuff. We're going to close the queue soon. We're not ending the stream, but we're going to close the queue soon. Bathtub Galaxy. It's a great name. It's a great name. I think I logged in over here. What? Send over here. All right, fluffy. Let's listen. Okay, I'm going to hit play on this again while I type for just a little bit more here. Okay, Fluffy. No, that's the name of the track. Sorry, Bug from the Moon. Who am I talking to here? I've lost track of the Bathtub Galaxy. Thank you. It's super cute. I think the pizzicato strings in the back on the left, they can come up a bit. So there's a lot of competition. So I think what we really need in this is volume automation to guide us, help us focus on which element is becoming the new priority from one moment to the next. And you do that through volume change predominantly, right? So keep it really simple. Don't add a whole bunch of processing or anything. Just use volume and see if you can get there with that. The Yeah Yeah sample on the right, around 18 seconds or so, I'd bring that way up. It's a very cute character. At 36 seconds, there's this sample. It comes back a couple of times. Is it cheering? If so, and you want that feeling to come across, and I think it needs to come up more. But also, since visuals aren't, being related to this, that might seem like a bit of a non sequitur. So if it is not cheering, it might just be kind of a distraction for a lot of people. So it may not even need to stay in the track. I would challenge to ask you why it is there and then answer that for yourself and then see if you keep it there. That's it. That's what I got for you on this one. I really like the feelings of this one. It's cute. It's bubbly. It's quite relaxed. Ricky Akimbo, yes. Yeah, it is a cuddly tune. Right, Far Horizon? Yeah, Ricky Akimbo, go ahead and drop a link. We're going to close the queue here in just a moment. Britboy's saying the same thing. Nice track. I think some of the higher notes are competing with each other for some attention slightly, but I don't know how to fix stuff like that. Yeah, so it's two things. It's disclosure of frequencies and it's presence and volume, right? So when something becomes the priority in the mix and you want our attention to shift to that thing specifically, then you can filter down just a little bit, ever so gently, on the other elements that are competing in that same shared space of frequency, and then bring them down in the mix too, right? You can also affect their pan position just slightly, right? Bringing the one that's soloing or kind of leading in that moment a little bit more towards center and a little bit more up. Think about how these characters might be positioned on a stage in a live performance and how they might adjust for one another in real time, right? To make room for each other, right? Oftentimes it's the most simple of solutions that you want to dabble in first before you go more complicated. Yes. Control 4 official says, yeah, the best way to make something louder is to bring something else down. Absolutely. Mix, addition through subtraction, as they say, not addition through addition. When you add something, everything else needs to kind of adjust for that. But when you reduce something, now that's an allowance. It's kind of nice. Moncaro. This is the Chemical Brothers. Do It Again. Hawk and Level Up edit. Oh, okay. So this is the one that Level Up posted. I need to remember to put this into a thread. Oh, Chemical Brother action. Carol is a fire name.
Oh my God, what have I done? All I wanted was a little fun. Got a brain like bubblegum, blowing up my cranium. Oh my God, what have I done? All I wanted was a little fun. Got a brain like bubblegum, blowing up my cranium. Oh my God, what have I done? All I wanted was a little fun. Got a brain like bubblegum, blowing up my cranium. Oh my God, what have I done? All I wanted was a little fun. Got a brain like bubblegum, blowing up my cranium. Body brain, thoughts are all the same, all insane. Oh my God, what have I done? All I wanted was a little fun. Got a brain like bubblegum, blowing up my cranium. Oh my God, what have I done? Oh my God, what have I done? Oh my God, what have I done? All I wanted was a little fun. Got a brain like bubblegum, blowing up my cranium. Oh my God, what have I done? All I wanted was a little fun. Got a brain like bubblegum, blowing up my cranium.
Yo, Level Up. I think this is great. Moncaro's a great name. I know you're not here. I'm going to say that out loud right now so I remember to put this into a thread. I will copy it. I'll put that over right now. And then we'll go through this. Okay, so I think you got a really nice build at 44, at 50. It's a really fantastic moment. I love the space given to the vocals. 107, that vocal sample, can use some active volume automation to really accent the second half of the word being delivered and make it more emotionally impactful and rhythmically aligned in a split second. I think there's a few different, like, nuanced moments where you can add just a dB bump of like 7 dB from one syllable to the next, and it actually will add a fairly tremendous amount of impact to the track, I think. It's just going to grab people, 157, I'd automate the volume up on the secondary vocal track over time in a linear fashion, so it's a very steady rate of growth over time, so it acts as a tension riser. I think it would sound super dope here. Aim for a difference of, say, 8 dB over time, maybe 12 dB. Make sure it really hits at the end, a few dB above where it is currently in your track. 224, wanted more from that transition, felt compressed and withheld. Again, 258, felt the same thing. It felt like you've taken the entire instrumental mix and you've kind of made this monolithic stamp of it, and you've put the vocals over the top. It feels kind of withheld, kind of withdrawn, is separate somehow compared to the rest of the full-bodied, fully excited, fully disclosed frequency mix earlier. And it happens a couple of times. So maybe playing with excitement itself, right? Playing with some saturation itself on that mix in that moment. Help bring that whole energy back. The whole, oh my God, what have I done? Or whatever it is. I think it should come up. It's super catchy. It's also just a really big part of the groove. The rhythm section of this thing is really cool, and it spans a whole bunch of different voices. But when you've got the samples in sync with all of that, it amplifies all of it a lot. BBH, welcome in. How you doing? Happy Friday to you. Control 4 official saying, I heard this gem before. Oh my goodness. Iron Imp says, so often astronomical data, the sun is quite loud at about 380 plus decibels. The loudest thing in existence is a black hole that's swallowing a small galaxy at about 550 decibels. Little fun fact for you. Britboy says, I want to have a baby with that kick, then walk out 3 weeks after it's born. You're going to be sending checks to that kick forever. Every month. Oh, man. Iron M saying, but if you're here, you probably have worse problems than hearing protection. We're all a bit messed up here. We're all a bit messed up. Oh, man. Or a singularity. Yes. That melody is so good, it's already stuck in my head, says Corollas. This is good. Great track, though, says Far Horizon. All right, good stuff from the chat. I'm going to hit pause on this for just a moment and run to the bathroom, and I am going to hit play on some background music so you don't feel too alone. And we'll just go ahead and start right where we left off, right here. And I'll see you guys in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. I am back. How y'all doing? Hey, barely heard. Nice handle there. Welcome in. Happy Friday to you. Britboy is asking, do any of you guys think they'll start adding AI that actually creates MIDI, etc. into DAWs like Ableton? It just seems like the natural next step, or maybe it's cheating. No, it will happen. It is already happening, and it will continue to happen. It is the next logical step for this stuff to do that. And then it's just up to us if we want to engage in that. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing as an arpeggiator, right? Like, it's taking out the steps. So... Control for official saying, hey, did you make this track, Chris? Yes, I did. I made all of this stuff. Tomba saying, Omlab, are you secretly doing sound design for Battlefield 6 loading screens? Sounds so much like the older games. My stuff gets used everywhere. Shall we get into the next thing? Oh, I need to do this really quick. Okay, queue is now closed for the day. Let's go back and listen, shall we? Shall we? Laz. Laz is up next. Oh, let me turn off the background. You don't need to hear me. It's not what we are here for on Fridays. Happy Friday to you as well, barely heard. That record player spins 24/7, Ricky. 24/7. Sinister Beats asking, how are you? Hey, I'm doing all right. It's Friday. It's the best day of the week for here. For us, anyway. Okay. Kirby Slice, welcome in. Happy Friday. Discord. Laz, you're up. This one's called Authentic, version 3.
Just I'm about to smoke up on a cigar, bitch, the shit is authentic. But I came up on a keeper just to keep it electric. We ain't gotta play some T-ball just to make sure I hit it. I'll end up in the ear just to show that I sent it. Yeah, you know I chose the two, Ghost Pipe is my fucking crew. If you're dying, don't know why, then why don't you just smoke a few? What's inside my chocolate milk? Is it Henny or the white rum? Got this 80s with the Benz, driving drunk 10 out of 10. Henny in the white rum. 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 Watching me tonight, Henny is the next call. Henny in the white rum. Henny in the white rum. Slashed off that Oreo. Drinking in the studio. Playing on Nintendo. I'm about to smoke up on a cigar, bitch, this shit is authentic. But I came up on a keeper just to keep it electric. We ain't gotta play some T-ball just to make sure I hit it. I'll end up in the ear just to show that I sent it. Yeah, you know I chose the two, Ghost Pipe is my fucking crew. If you're dying, don't know why, then why don't you just smoke a few? What's inside my chocolate milk? Is it Henny or the white rum? Got this 80s with the Benz, driving drunk 10 out of 10. Henny in the white rum. Henny in the white rum. Henny in the white rum. Picture me some icon. Henny is the next con. Henny in the white rum. Henny in the white rum. Sauced off that Oreo. Drinking in the studio. Playing on Nintendo. Henny in the white rum. Picture me some icon. Henny is the next con. Henny in the white rum. Henny in the white rum. Sauced off that Oreo. Drinking in the studio. Playing on Nintendo.
Okay. Laz, I like this concept. The loudness is just way out of control. I mean, it jumps up, I don't know, like 20 dB or something there at one point. So it's just a bit wild and out of control. And I think you need to just wrangle it in general. Vocal wants a bit less mud, so down around 250, up around 1K-ish or so in your EQ to help find the right balance. Just a little bit more clarity, a little bit more definition, a little bit more edge to the pronunciation of syllables. And then I think it sits on top of the mix a little bit better too. It's just way too loud after the drop. Got to bring it back down to earth so you don't hurt people or their speakers, because then they just won't play your music ever again. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it's a really solid concept. Got to get the loudness all wrangled in, then bring it back and get real feedback. I would say if you can get it to a decent loudness and keep the large majority of your processing and other mixing in place without too much fatigue, you've got a really good track, because it goes really hard and the changes are very unexpected and unique and really catchy. So make it more listenable. That's where we are with this one. Kim Fan, welcome in. Happy Friday to you. Control 4. What is this one? Brawly? Shall we?
Legend spoke of Brawly. Brawly is not a man. He is a force of nature. Brawly, the storm in human form. Brawly. challenge Brawley? Brawley does not fight. He destroys. Against Brawley, you are already defeated. Brawley will break you, piece by piece.
All right. Do Control 4. This is actually becoming your best work so far, I think, in that you have continued to sculpt this thing until it's become something that's a real like fully crafted cinematic arc, right? You've really put together something special with the dialogue and the storyline and the emotional ups and downs of the music, the reprising of this character again and again at just the right times to kind of reinforce the legendary status without ever actually disclosing what makes Brawley so great or how we ever got there. You know what I'm saying? It's just Brawley's Brawley, which is cool. I want just a bit more kind of full, deep, resonant bass in the voiceover, and for it to sit atop the mix a touch more at all times, like a good 4 dB a bit above everything else. I think that's going to take some volume automation, to be perfectly honest about this. I think that there's just some times where it's sitting under, excuse me, the music, but your music is great. So you need to make the adjustments with the vocal. You're shaping this into your best work. I already said that, but it's written here, and I guess I'm just reading what's in front of my face. So there's this subliminal dialogue happening in the background. I wish you would disclose it. It's like in the middle of this track. I'm not sure if anyone else was catching this, but it's pretty fantastic. Is it here? Is this where it is?
The storm. You dare to challenge Brawley?
Oh, it's right here. It's right here. Something about like ultimate destruction or something like that around the 619 mark. Find it. I'm just going to put this in here because it pops up at different times. But anyway, this background, like subliminal dialogue, bring this up because I feel like this is part of this story that's being disclosed. It's okay if it's kind of buried a little bit, but bring it up. And then I think the biggest reason for disclosing it fully at some point is that you can reprise specific phrases or words from that dialogue. And it's such a cool warped voice, you know? It's talk to me, ecstasy, let's have communication, something of that nature. It's a Nexus 5 preset. Yeah, I think it's kind of this missing element, if you will. I mean, it's there in the mix, but I think that its presence is mixing. And I think that that also shines a light on this other thing that I kind of go into here just a little bit more, which is disclosing more of the actual layers, because there's a ton going on here, right? Really good ARP. I wanted to roam around more in the stereo field a little more freely, a little more randomly. Okay, so at 421, here's a spot where the dialogue gets buried. I'd ride the peaks, like I said, about a good 40 dB at least above everything else. Long form dialogue with music sometimes requires a great deal of volume automation to maintain the illusion of consistent presence. And if you're familiar with like plugins like Vocal Writer and stuff like that, it simplifies that volume automation of a track like that in a bigger mix, the same way that a compressor automates little volume changes. 540, wanting a bit more volume automation here to bring different layers to the surface over time. And this is just like a snapshot at 540. I think this is just a general statement. So over the course of the 7.5 minutes of this journey, it'd be nice just to hear the relationship between two elements or three elements just change over the course of that moment that they share, and allow for there to be some sort of greater disclosure of all of the components that are making up that moment. 627, that little saw stab there, so nice. There's just a lot of so many tiny little detail fills like this. 656, so this is cool. There's this neat little stab that happens. I feel like if you were to layer in a tom with those stabs, you can kind of make it a fun little mid-range and long-range drum fill in disguise. And piece by piece at the end, that dialogue sample, it might be kind of cool to degrade that as it's actually being spoken. The piece by piece, maybe it starts to kind of crumble at the end some way. I don't know. We're just talking about destruction here, so. Goodbye-o! How you doing, homie? Happy Friday. Yeah, Tomba saying, what I love about the trance scene now is that more countries across the pond from the UK are really starting to appreciate the genre and making fresh music. It's getting forgotten about over here in England, and it's great to hear how trends and new paths are being taken up in America and Canada, etc. Yeah, you gotta love the natural progression, like the evolution, the diaspora, if you will. Yeah. Nexus 5 preset, huh? Ah, gotcha. Next up, Kirby Slice. It is you. This one's called Recovery. Oh man, that was a workout. That was so good. So good. I would say that this is the no feedback track of the stream, basically. I do want like a little bit of volume automation at 2 minutes so we feel like a significant change over time. Around 2 minutes here during this build. Man, this is so good. Kirby Slice. Ear workout. Ear squats. That short phrase just on the screen, it looks like it needs to be said like ear squats. You drop down a little bit. Sound like your old like wrestling coach or something. Ear squats. Work it, gear, work it. Ear squats. Having this conversation with my kid the other day about loudness and about maybe not pushing something as quiet as much as he was wanting to, and he was like, here's how I see it, Papa, and maybe you just need to listen to me so you can understand, okay? Because here's how it actually works. My ears just need to get used to it. They need to work harder, Papa. Sometimes ears just need to work harder to work right. So I think I can just keep doing this and my ears will get better. And I was like, well, I'd love for that to be true. I'd love for us giving our ears a workout for them to build bigger muscles, but it's actually a sensing thing. It's a very delicate sensor. It was a really great young engineering mind moment, like gravitating towards the loudness naturally, like a moth towards the flame, right? And the parent jumping in between the moth and the candle flame, going, "Wait, don't do it yet. Don't touch the flame." Tom was saying, "Where's the lamb sauce?" Okay, so Kirby Slice saying, I haven't put anything out because of bad self-confidence for so many years, and this made my night, dude. Kirby Slice, you need to bring more stuff by, number one. Number two, trust in your skills. But number three, just bring more stuff by because you're going to hear everybody's response to it. Like, no one's getting paid here to do this for you, right? So you know that these are honest responses. You've got some mad skills. I would love to hear some more. Absolutely. Some really good stuff, dude. Some really good stuff. Stop backseat producing your son. You would be surprised at just how little instruction I actually give him. I didn't want... I mean, it can be like, it's borderline embarrassing. The type of help, assistance, mentorship, guidance, all of that stuff that I turned down, like basically spit in the face of as a youngster. So I get it. I totally get it. Like, you got to rock and roll. Sometimes you just got to bang some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Just got to. So you'd be surprised. Like this last week, I taught him how to transform his own vocal performances to be creature sounds, and then how you could take those same vocal performances and put them into a sampler and make a nice sampled instrument and make like a melody out of those things or something. And about how, I guess, just kind of flexible it all is, you know? He soaks it up. But I don't actually give him instructions as to what to do with it. I just say something like, see that little thing over there that says transpose? Click on that and drag it down and up and stuff and find some spots you like and then figure out what you can do with that. And he's like looking for the spot over there with his mouse and he's finding it and he does it all himself. I think that's the way. Anyway, we don't need to make... This is not a parenting. What are you guys doing? Don't encourage me. Started using a compressor like 5 years into producing, says Ricky Akimbo. Nice. Far Horizon. You are up next. Kirby, thank you so much. It was quite the little pleasantness for my ear holes. Love it. Far Horizon. This is Touch. Let's see what you made.
We've been getting closer.
Yo, Far Horizon, this is beautiful. Subs down, 8 dB. Low end cutoff, 45 hertz, 6 dB per octave. So super gentle attenuation. 124, this change up. 203, the vocal arp is getting buried a bit behind the kick and the bass. I feel like I want the balance kind of flipped on this. I mean, hear me out, because it kind of runs against the standard of your kind of standard level for the Reese sustained position. But I wonder if you put the vocals above everything else and make the bass actually really subtle, and then have it just come soaring out at a couple of really key moments in this thing. If that would make it feel withheld enough for that contrast to just be like instant goosebumps, or if that would just like suck the life force out of the track and not have enough of that big gravity. Tomba says, vocal isn't popping as much as it should, basically. It needs more shine. I think that the vocals are down a bit from where they should be, but I also think that there's an imbalance in the level of the low end in this. I think the subs are pretty constantly loud, and I think that the bass itself is loud. I would personally bring those down, but I would push the vocals up to the point where they really lead this whole thing by several dB, personally. I'm just not sure about the sustained level of the bass. That's what I'm unsure of in this one. If it should come down significantly, or if it should just come down a bit to make room for the vocals. Because if you do bring it down significantly and then let it come up in a few choice spots, you do have perhaps the makings of some really good goosebump producing material there. Saturating the vocals in spots would be really, really nice. I agree with Tomba there. Yeah, that push-pull feel. Absolutely. Bold contrast. That was absolutely beautiful. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Absolutely beautiful. 100%. Z4, that's Caballo. Hope you're doing well. Happy Friday to you, brother. Always good to see you. This is called Tima. Or Tema.
Nuevo día y nuevos pensamientos, sin el camino correcto, más no perdido. Miro hacia el centro y quedo lejos, el desorden que dejo el viento se me hace conocido. Dentro de los placeres inmerso en este clima intenso, intenté escribir en mi último verso. Escondido entre las ruinas ya habrá salida y mañana considerado un nuevo día. Ángeles me vienen a buscar y acá esperando otra pista o idea que me haga sentir algo. No dispongo mucho tiempo en el reloj, mi corazón. La última vez que agarré tu mano tuve una visión. Propongo un camino nuevo, alejarnos para siempre. No valen sus palabras si no muestran lo que siente. O acorralado en esta esquina, agobiado por el ambiente. Todo esto es nuevo, pero no me es diferente. Tomo distancia de esa gente, se me hacen largos los 20. Llegando al final, Coico ya es creyente. Mezcla agua y aceite, rompo la química. Tu mensaje no me significa nada. Mis palabras se las lleva el viento. Es difícil crear, sí, pero no tengo mucho tiempo. Las visitas me inspiraron, dejaron algo que es cierto. El camino que tomaron pareciera ser reflejo de mis dudas, cosas que no son seguras, como despertarme y seguir en altura. En este cuarto oscuras hago mi literatura, rompo toda estructura, propongo nuevos diseños. No tengo ninguna atadura a una cultura, por eso nunca se vio alguien dispuesto a este ingenio. Crecí en el silencio separándome del resto, quítense del medio, yo proyecto lo que pienso. Palabras en el aire, estoy perdido en el desierto. Me cuesta ver más lejos, confronto lo que siento. Quiero ser yo misma a toda hora, pero no es correcto. Y creo que perdí por no ser lo que prometo.
Ooh, little change up at the end. Ayo Caballo. I love this vibe. It's good. The vocal performance on this one, though, is pretty hard because it's got this swirling background. It felt like there was wind or something blowing through behind you, and then that doesn't allow you to get this into the mix. It's always going to be apart from the mix because it's never actually going to feel like you can isolate it enough for it to really gel with anything in the instrumental part of this track. So I think the fix to that is to re-record the vocals. The instrumental is nice, it's mixed well. I think this really just comes down to capturing your performance that doesn't include a lot of noise, and then you'll be able to treat it. You'll be able to mix it and master it quite differently than you're able to now. So this is my main feedback on this one. Ricky's saying, I really like the noise. Not going to lie, reminds me of the European Kid from like 2011. Yeah, I think that some of the noise is fine, but the fact that it's this kind of monolithic element sitting in this mix. The rest of the mix sounds this one way, and then the vocal capture sounds this other way entirely. Tomba says, you think reverb would help? No, I don't, because then that's just going to encapsulate it even more, sort of. I think that there's, there's intentional noise, and then there's the swirling noise. I think that if it was more static in nature, that it would work better. It would work better. It's the moving of these frequencies. It's the stirring of the frequencies that makes it more difficult for the mix. I think that's really what it's got. Yeah, early youngling. Yeah. Yeah. Now, to introduce, noise or swirl or something like that to the mix at large or something, so now there's this kind of gelling agent across the entirety of the thing, not just so obviously just on the vocals, because the rest of the track is super clean, super clean. So I think there needs to be some balance there. For most folks, anyway. Ricky Akimbo. I'm stoked. This one is called My Heart. Yeah, Sad Boys, 2001. That's it right there. That's a really good example. That's a really good reference. It is a nightmare, Iron Hip, yeah. Yeah, I think it's just the contrast. I think that it's more about balance when it comes to noise like that. Okay, Ricky Akimbo. Here we go. All right. Ricky, I think your sound continues to improve. I want to hear the vocal performance a little bit more on top and a little bit more reverb on it to put it into a specific room. It feels just a little bit kind of flat in its profile, missing a bit of fullness compared to some of the other sounds. I would personally use the piano as a really good reference in this one as to like how resonant this sound is in this space that it is performing, and then try to find that similar kind of balance with the vocal, because I think right now it's just kind of lacking in its room balance. 128 right guitar on the right can come down. It's sticking out of the mix, and I think it could just get tucked right back into the mix. It doesn't ever need to stand out throughout the entirety of the song unless it solos. 140, less sub frequencies in the kick. Right now it feels like it's landing with a big oomph each time it hits, right? And it's lessening the impact of sub frequencies over time, and it's adding this kind of low end bloat to the track in general. So everything around it in the mix is going just a little bit each time it hits. They're all just having this tiny little kind of reaction to it. Kick and hi-hat feel separate. They feel like pretty separate things. So wanting more gel between them, shared EQ and compression maybe. They don't have to sound alike, obviously. They just need to feel a little bit more like they came from the same exact performance in the same exact space and time. Shared reverb. If they're not sharing a reverb, let's make sure they're sharing a reverb as well. Add that in there. 234, let's get the backing vocals a bit further away from the center. So a little bit more isolation and separation then from the main vocals, which stays predominantly in the center. And then remove some of the lows in the reverb channel. And then also maybe just, if you can, if your DAW allows for it, narrow the space that it is occupying in the spot that you've given it in the stereo spectrum. Let me show you what I mean by that. If we zoom in on the pan pots here, you can see that I've got stereo, balance, and binaural. If I go into stereo pan, and then I start to adjust the overall width, like the overall spread of this, I can isolate pretty specifically. Like I can put a pair of vocals right here. And then if I've got multiple backing elements in a track, I can get that kind of larger choral effect much easier, because things aren't sitting over the top of one another and competing with each other in the same way. And everything is very much isolated. It starts to sound like everyone adhered to their seating chart, if you will, and is performing very well together. 245, subtle, tiny vocals at the very far edges of the mix. Those can come up. There are a bunch of little tiny vocal embellishments that are way over here, and they are just barely audible, but they deserve to be heard more. So those should all come up a good 6-8 dB maybe. And then vary the static volume levels of all of your different vocal tracks. So not all of your backing vocals will have the same volume level. They shouldn't all be at like -7 or something like that. Like they should all be kind of varied, I think. And all of them have a different staggered position in the stereo field. And that way we can hear each one of them a little bit more individually. And I think that would sound super dope. Reverb mixing and volume balance. Those are the big ones. So make sure that you've got an EQ after the reverb every single time you put a reverb on, just to make sure you're not allowing too many low frequencies or high frequencies back into the mix. You just don't want them. And then volume balance, making sure that like when you've got a whole bunch of different vocal elements at the same time, that you're giving them just slightly varied positions, like I was saying. Help it feel a little bit more organic. Barely heard. You shouldn't be scared. FinDG, did you put something in the queue? Oh man, I'm just going to read this little excerpt. I've missed a lot of this thread, I think, while the music was playing, but I'm catching this right here. Iron M says, "I'm 40 and I dropped acid with my 80-year-old father. I'm not going to speak to everything, but it was beautiful. We took nature photography and talked for hours. Never been able to tell him much how I loved him, but the drugs helped." Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Okay. Ricky, keep bringing it. It's good stuff, man. Oops, wait a minute. Hold on a second. There we go. Let's see if I can type. Sort of. Not really. I've never claimed to be a typist. All right. Barely here. This one's called Fluid. Let's check it. Okay, this is cool. Barely here. This is cool. This is not something that we hear every day. I would say let's get the screaming up. It doesn't have to be up a ton because I like what you're doing. This like very much withheld thing. It's sitting in the distance. You might even want to try a very linear climb. Let that thing get a good like 8 dB louder than where it first begins, and then boom, right at the point of transition, it just jumps the additional 12 dB or whatever it is to get it back up to its full mix loudness. So give it just a little bit of creep. It's a nice little kind of foreshadowing, teasing, wanting more. 808 down a bit, guitar licks up a bit, saw synth down a touch. I feel like the volume mix here is just not quite there yet. I think you probably just need to nudge stuff for a little while. I don't want to put specific numbers to this and just tell you how to make this. I will say make changes that are bold enough for you to have a strong reaction to them. So when I say 808 down a bit, what if you just yank that fader down like 12 dB? Well, your initial gut reaction is probably going to be like, well, that was too much. So allow yourself to have that kind of hard reaction to your last decision made. So that way you can compensate. Not overcompensate or undercompensate, by like giving yourself a better perspective than just bringing something that's really loud down 2 dB or 3 dB. You can't really tell what's being done there. You know what I'm saying? So give yourself a chance to have a strong reaction to your own decision making in the moment, and then back away from the edge a bit. Okay, add a transition effect to help make that change a little bit more impactful. I should have put a timestamp there, but it was right around here where you see it jump off the big cliff there. And there's a higher register synth guitar element that needs to come up. It's largely missed in the track. You can kind of hear it during the outro here best. This guy. That was all guitar there, I think. Regardless, the kind of more mid-high melodic elements, I think they can come up a bit. I think that having them there brings a bit more pretty to be juxtaposed with like this strong contrast of this guttural, ugly screaming. You know what I'm saying? So a little soothing and a little grating goes a long way. Zeno, what is your track? I saw you adding something and then you took it away, probably because you saw the queue was closed. Are you still there? If not, it's all good. But if you are, yeah, Iron Up, we absolutely will. It's dub, yeah. So toss it in there. And then we're going to listen to this thing from Iron Imp. He made it a while back, and it's using Tracker, which I haven't seen in ages. Okay, cool. Here's this one from Zen, and then we'll switch over to the one from Iron, and then we'll go raid someone. Go say hi to somebody. All right, this one's called Headbang from Zen.
Kings of the headbang. Kings of the headbang. Kings of the headbang. Kings of the headbang. Kings of the headbang.
These samples were super choice. All right, the bass dialogue sample buried under the bass. It's a little ironic, right? Because it's trying to accent the whole, shine a light on the bass, right? So get the dialogue sample up to where it sits over and above on top of that bass. Really tasty, really just tasty sounds. The surface texture on them all, really good. Quite satisfying. 142, the builds and transitions are all pretty smooth, yet your music is pretty gnarly overall, so you might want to consider roughing them up a bit with some stutters, glitches, general mayhem. Just affect the entirety of them a bit. Don't worry about like figuring out which layer to do something fancy to or whatever. Just try mixing all of them. Loudness is just a bit much. Back off the limiting a touch. Some clipping in effect in spots. Good mixing throughout. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Right, Iron Up? Yeah, it took a left turn there, right? Yeah. Yeah. Patty Pace. We are wrapping up. How long is this? What is this? What's the length on this thing here? 2 minutes. Let's do it. Okay, I think the ARP is a bit hard or hot in this one, Patty Pace. You can bring the low end cutoff up to about 40 hertz, 12 dB per octave curve, and you'll shave off a little bit of rumble there and reclaim a little bit of energy, and that'll just get poured right back into the heart of the song, make it feel a little bit more powerful. Bass can use a subtle shelf around 70 hertz, maybe like a neg 3 to 5 dB or so. Limiting is making the dynamic relationship between the elements a bit cramped, so back off the limiting a little bit, and then you'll reclaim a little bit of space between your sounds. One thing I'll point out really quick is that this song sounds like it's got a bunch of good emotional kind of build and release that's constantly happening, and that should be represented dynamically. So when I say like the limiting is reducing the dynamic range between these elements, we should be able to see a lot more distance between the peaks and the valleys in this track. And then I think for this breakdown that happens in here, we could see a reduction of a good like 8 dB in general in this moment. So we have something, a bit of ground to cover when we come back up to it, kind of surge back up to the full mix potential, and we get all the goose bumps, and we turn up the volume with it and put it in our favorites list and so on and so forth. Okay, That's what I got for you on this one. We're going to listen to this one from Iron Imp. This one is actually a throwback track because he made it a total of 11 years ago, but he was making this through Tracker, through Renoise. So it's going to show you all of the MIDI. Lost count. You are welcome. Sorry to rush through that. We're just at the end of the stream. So there's a bit of dialogue here. It says, the point of this breakdown IDM tracker nonsense was to learn the MIDI commands and learn how to count in base 15 hexadecimal. I'm okay with 00 to 7F and FF, but I can't couple anything larger in my head. Fortunately, to write this way, that's all you need. The real wizards, like Venetian snares, can sequence this with just keyboard, no mouse. Not me. I need a mouse. But there's enough iBind shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts. You don't have to. The sounds are manipulated via kind of raw dog sample position and pitch, reverse ratchet memory lookup address commands, and retriggered in the text of MIDI. There's a master limiter and a shitty reverb effects channel send. But this is all just sample playback. Dynamics are just velocity values. Excellent. Here we go. bonkers. Dang. Yeah, that is a ride. That goes places. Wow. Wow. Gosh. Wow. Gosh, yeah, just wow. Yeah, if you're not compelled, you do not make this. You are absolutely 100% spot on about that. All right, kitty cats. As usual, we've run over by quite a bit, so I'm going to scramble out the door here. But I will see you all after the weekend. We'll do Feedback Friday as planned next week, and then we should be getting back to our normal 3-day-a-week streaming schedule. And that'll be fun. Yay. Until then, let's go visit our friend Decipher and see what they are doing. Oh, wait a minute. Why am I unable to raid him? Why? Let me try that again. Let's see if we can do that. Raid. All right, we'll try this again. Unable to raid. Oh, well, this is unfortunate, but it looks like Twitch is having a problem raiding right now. So I guess we'll do this the old-fashioned way, where I go over here and I click a button and I pull up the volume and I say something like, "It's time to say goodbye, friends." And I go to my OBS and I click to stream ending. And then I say nice things into the microphone, like, I hope you have an awesome weekend, and stay inspired, and make awesome things that you can share with us next week. I'll see you guys on the flip. I appreciate you. Peace out.